Hello, my name is Bailey Wetter, and I, along with my group members Megan Quinnen, Maeve McNamara, and Michaela Giordano, make up the Alabama Appraisers. Today, we are going to be walking you through an appraisal report that we created for our subject property, 600 Bay Hill Road in Hoover, Alabama. So like I said on the previous slide, my name is Bailey Wetter, and I'm going to be giving you a little bit of background on the subject property that we have created this appraisal report for. So the address for the subject property is 600 Bay Hill Road in Hoover, Alabama, and the zip code is 35244. The subject property is in Shelby County, Alabama. The home was last sold in 2002 and it was built in 1992. It's a 5-bedroom, 4.5-bathroom house, and it has a 2-car attached garage to the home. The house is 5,706 square feet. It sits on 0.71 acres, and when the home was last sold in 2002, it sold for $425,087.
Hi, I'm Maeve McNamara, and I'm going to discuss the market of where our subject is located for you to get a better understanding of our location conditions. Our subject property is located in Hoover, Alabama, which is one of the largest suburbs outside of Birmingham. It is approximately 10 miles from the city center. The specific neighborhood that our subject property is located has seen some growth in the past year, with the value of homes rising about 9.5% within the past 12 months. Hoover, more broadly, has population of 85,000 compared to Birmingham's 210,000 population. Hoover's population has increased by 6% since 2010. Also, Hoover's median household income is about $81,000 and its median home price is around $400,000.
I'm Bailey Wetter, and I'm going to be walking you through the sales comparison approach that we used when creating this appraisal report. So starting out, we found 6 comparable properties to the property that was our subject house, and we gathered all of the statistics for those comparable properties. Things like how many bedrooms they have, how many bathrooms they have, how many acres they sit on, the year that they were built, the garage space that they have in their school district, and then the price that those homes were last sold for. All of our homes have been sold within the last 2 years. So the approach that we chose to take for that is we found the average price that a bedroom and a bathroom adds on to the sales price of a home, and we made either a negative or positive adjustment to the houses that had more or less bathrooms than our subject property. For our square footage, none of our houses, our comparables or our subject property, had the same amount of square footage. So on the City of Hoover's website, we found that the average price per square foot in a house is $123. And so given that, we made adjustments to each home, both positive and negative adjustments, so that all were on the same playing field regarding their price per square foot. With the lot size, we were actually able to find that the home was originally sold, the 0.71 acres, for $200,000. So we utilized that information to find what the average price per acre of land was for the subject house's lot. And then we found the difference between the acreage of the subject house and the acreage of each of the comparables. The comparables with a larger acreage had a negative adjustment, while the comparables with a smaller acreage then had a positive adjustment. For the year built, it was the same thing with the number of acreage. None of the properties that we analyzed were built in the same year, so we determined that the most fair and accurate way to solve this problem was to calculate the 80-year depreciation for each of the properties. The properties that were older than the subject house, similar to how it's have been, have incurred a positive adjustment, and the properties that are newer than the subject house incurred a negative adjustment. Then following that, the other main difference that each of the houses incurred was that they all had different garage spaces. Some of them had 2 cars like our subject house, but a lot of them had something different. So we found that the average price that a single car garage adds to a home is $10,850. And so the comparable 3 and comparable 6 that had additional garage spaces than the 2-car garage that our subject house had, those incurred a negative adjustment to subtract that amount back to a 2-car garage to make sure that all of the houses had the same amount of garage space via the sales comparison approach. So when we did that and we found our average comparable price after doing all of these calculations, we found that the average comparable price is $594,287.20. And that is the price we used when finding our sales comparison approach.
Michaela Giordano. For the cost approach for the subject property, to find the estimated replication cost, I used a website, costtobuild.net, where I was able to input the features of the house, including the size, the space, the number of garages, in order to determine the total replication cost of $736,229. However, I think that this is one of the weaknesses in our appraisal because I did not have all the specs of the house available to me. Therefore, I do not think that this number is 100% accurate, and it could have been more accurate if we had all of the features to input to get the most reliable estimate. Next, I did accrued depreciation, and I got $229,106, and I did that by taking the average life expectancy of a lot of the materials in the house to come up with the average lifespan of 80 years. Next, I estimated the value of the site, and I was able to find the average cost of an acre in Hoover, Alabama, and I multiplied that by 0.71 acres. And lastly, I was able to find the indicated value by the cost approach of $515,895. But since the cost approach is most commonly used for buildings that aren't sold as often, such as libraries or maybe another government building, I don't think that this is the best appraisal value to use for a residence. And it could be improved if we were able to maybe give the plans with all of the actual specs of the house to a builder to get a more reliable estimate of how much it would cost to replace a house similar to this one.
After using the sales comparison and cost approach, we calculated the estimated value of the subject using the income approach. We used both the direct capitalization and discounted cash flow methods. In the direct capitalization method, we calculated the net operating income assuming that the monthly rental income was about $3,400, the vacancy rate was 11.5%, monthly housing costs or the operating expenses were $870, and that there were no capital expenditures. We found the net operating income to be about $25,000 and calculated the estimated price to be $484,150 using a 5.35% cap rate. In the discounted cash flow method, we assumed the holding period of 13 years, rental income would grow by 5% each year, investors expect a 10% discount rate, and the property will be sold for about $870,000 at the end of 13 years. We found the present value of these cash flows to be $486,936. Possible weaknesses in this approach was that we had to make a lot of assumptions. For example, we assumed that there were no capital expenditures, which is not realistic, but there was no apparent data on this subject. Also, a lot of the figures we found were based on apartment rentals, which differs from our single-family residential home. The income approach would be more accurate if we had more data on single-family rentals. After completing all the approaches, we then had to reconcile the estimates by using a weighted average. We weighted the sales comparison the highest weight because it is most relevant to our property, and our property consisted of many comparables. We gave the cost approach 30% because although the cost approach is more used for specialty buildings, it still maintains the nature of the property. Lastly, we gave the income approach a total of 10%, 4% for direct capitalization and 6% for discounted cash flows. The income approach has the lowest weight since our property is not income producing and we had to make a lot of assumptions. After reconciliation, our final reconciled estimated value for our subject property is $559,923.
Hi everyone, my name is Megan Quinnen and I would like to discuss the impact of COVID-19. The current situation in the United States is that only essential businesses are open, and there's a social distancing policy in effect until April 30th. There are new developments and changes every day, and the future is extremely uncertain. The United States has the largest amount of cases in the entire world. This can be attributed to a lack of responsibility shared amongst some of the population and the lack of emphasis of the severity of the situation from the media in the beginning stages of the virus. The United States should have been proactive, not reactive. In response, the government has put many relief efforts in effect to try and help the struggling individuals in these trying times. Some examples include the overall CARES Act, no interest on student loans, and small business job retention loans. Similarities between the 2007 financial crisis and the COVID-19 pandemic is that they both caused global recessions, share massive numbers of unemployment, and cause struggling markets. Differences include the cause of the crashes, one from being the out-of-control financial sector and one from being a pandemic, and another being the uncertainty of the future. It was clear in the movies that we watched that some government leaders and bank CEOs knew what was going to happen, but ultimately wanted to make money off of it, so didn't say anything. With COVID-19, the future is extremely uncertain, and we don't know what's going to happen. COVID-19 will cause a trickle-down effect in the economy. Employees don't make as much money as before, so they won't put their income into businesses, and businesses will therefore suffer, and so do almost all other industries. In the housing market, we may see some new buyers come in due to the drop in mortgage interest rates and overall prices of houses. However, this could create a slippery slope effect because sellers could then jack up their prices to try and make profits off these buyers. We chose Hoover, Alabama as our focal area for this appraisal report. From 2018 to 2019, Hoover had the highest positive percentage change of unemployment out of any state, from 3.9% to 3%. Before the pandemic, unemployment for Alabama was at 2.7%. While almost over 81,000 individuals have filed for unemployment in Hoover, we believe Alabama may be able to bounce back from the recession more easily than other states due to their history of low unemployment statistics and stable location quotients within many occupations.